everybody. Welcome to Interviews Podcast, where we are trying to crack the Entrepreneurship Code by chatting to SME business owners from all around the world. My name is Laurent, and I am a business coach. My passion is to help business owners reach greater success, and this podcast aims to do just that. I hope these interviews will inspire you and give you some useful tips and tricks to navigate your business journey. Today we are in Cambodia with Klara, the Managing Partner of Branderz, a branding, communication and design studio. Hi Klara, thank you very much for joining. How are you today?
Me. I'm very good, thank you very much.
Nice.
Ready to help you crack the entrepreneurship.
Excellent. Well, let's get into it then. Tell us a little bit about your business.
So, as you rightfully put, before Branderz is a branding, communications and design studio.
Mm-hmm.
So we operate in creative industry. So we work with small and big companies in Cambodia. So everything from mom and pop shops to huge brands such as Starbucks. And we help them solve their communications challenges. Meaning that we like to think we have a rich and good tool bag of different creative tools that we use to just simply help our clients with marketing, communications, advertising. So we develop brand identities, we design all kinds of things, we illustrate, we animate, we strategize marketing and communication plans. We then obviously help our clients execute on that.
Nice. So what about you? What's your profile?
Cool. It's a complex question because I don't think I have a very defined background. I've always operated. I've always been working in and around marketing, so that has always been a big part of what I was doing. My work has also always been very people-centric, people-focused. So leadership, management, and so forth were always big areas for me. Mm-hmm. Already at the university, I started working with ISEC, which is a student-run association that helps young people find their vision and develop their leadership skills. So I was doing a lot of marketing and communications for ISEC. Later on, I was working in IT with mobile apps and so forth, marketing that, launching different fun apps all around Asia. So yeah, it's always been that, but it's also always been creating. I always liked building things from scratch and creating something from nothing. So. Mm-hmm. And just using people's creativity and their talents to do that. So that's where my passion lies, I suppose.
Excellent. So how long have you been an entrepreneur for?
I would say almost my entire professional career, pretty much. I have been working for different companies, obviously, because I always understood that it's important to learn from other people and to find ways to develop your skills. But yeah, I think almost my entire career, so that would be now well over 10 years actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when did you know that you would be an entrepreneur?
I've always known that.
Really?
I've literally always known that. Maybe in primary school, I still had these naive dreams of being a lawyer or something. Yeah. But I think since I started high school, I already understood very well that I wanted, that was always my, I want to do my own thing.
Okay.
And the journey was very interesting because obviously when you're younger and more naive, you just have these ideas, I want to do my own thing. And only later on you understand that own thing needs to come from passion and needs to come from a place of meaning and knowing what you're good at and knowing what you can really put out there, what you can develop and create. So it has to come from passion. So that bit came a little later, but I always understood that I want to work on my own projects, and I would tell it to my parents early on. I will never work for other people like you do and so forth. So yeah.
How did they take that?
Well, very well actually. They were very supportive because they're always saying, yep, you shouldn't, so go fly, right? So nice. I was very lucky to always like I always had this like really strong support system, so
Nice.
it was easy to create and try and play with different things and so forth.
So you mentioned an important word, passion, and
Yeah.
it's a word that is really important for me too. So what are you passionate about? Is that the design, the communication, the branding, or was that something different at the beginning?
I'm definitely passionate about design, not only design that's like graphic design, hugely like connected with marketing communications. I like design in general. I like fashion. I like product design. I love, for example, furniture and interior design. It's something I really like to do, like as a hobby and so forth. So that has always been something I was really into. But where my passion really lies, I think it's mostly, I'm really passionate about understanding how people respond to design, how people respond to different messages, what drives them, what like emotion different things brings out in people. People on both sides of the business, like people we're talking to, people we're selling things to, marketing things to at the end of the day, but I'm also really curious about how our design team approaches those design challenges and addresses different issues and like questions through design. So yeah, that's always been very interesting to me. But I think really my passion is like people and how they use different services, different products, and then how can we understand that better and use that better in our everyday work.
Okay. So how do you translate that passion for people into your daily work?
Well, here's one thing about passion though,
Yeah.
that I have to say. People always tend to think that if you found your passion, that then everything is just gonna be amazing and your everyday is gonna be like sunshine and you know, lollipops. But I really think we should start understanding passion as like, yes, it's something that drives you, but it's also something that should make you work very hard for what you actually want to do and achieve. You have to drudge through the drudgery, you have to go through like ups and downs, but at the end of the day, if you understand that you're operating around something you really like, then also those days of like hard work and frustration and everything else are kind of worth it, right? So I don't want to make it sound like when you found your passion, it's all just amazing. It's not. It's still a hard work. Right?
It's true. It is very true. I agree with that. So let's go back into you being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, on an everyday, on a daily basis at work, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? And I'm talking about the goods and the bad of being an entrepreneur.
Oh, there are many. So first of all, me being an entrepreneur, most of my time and most of my energy today goes into Branderz, even though on the side I have other projects that I'm trying to kind of bring to life.
Because you don't have enough work, I guess?
I do, but I am really interested in other things as well. And currently my big challenge is trying to find ways to actually diversify my efforts and doing different things. So I'm learning to delegate and I'm learning to empower other people to take more on their plates and so forth. But the goods and the bads, definitely the goods are, I love the freedom that comes with entrepreneurship. I love the fact that I feel I'm in control of my time and where my energy is going and my focus. I love the fact that I have the power to change everything if I wanted to.
Yes.
That it's really all about my own motivation and my own vision, and then translating that vision into like smart, you know, tactics and the ways how I work with my team and everything else. And that really drives me, the fact that I can walk into our offices tomorrow and just say, you know what, this makes no sense, why are we doing that? Let's try something different, right? That is really inspiring to me. I love creating, as I was saying at the beginning. I really like building things from scratch. I think that brings me almost more joy than once things are kind of set and running and, you know, growing, even though that's a different, like, interesting thing as well. So those are definitely for me the good sides. The good sides also, but I think that's hugely connected to what I'm doing, is just being able to meet all these different clients and businesses. I have a feeling that we learn so much because they're also different and in very different industries and so forth. So sometimes like the kind of topics we're discussing about the office is like, I can't believe we're talking about this right now, you know. So I really enjoy that. It does come with a lot of downsides. Definitely, there is no 9 to 5. It never stops. It never ends. Because when you do have ideas and vision, it's always like your mind is always going. And I think sometimes it's really challenging to just stop and relax and really understand that sometimes what you need is not more hours, but maybe a bit of rest and reset and so forth to be more successful. Another challenge with entrepreneurship, which I do think a lot of like my fellow entrepreneurs would agree with, is when you're starting and you're still like a small business, you do everything. There is no like, you are meeting amazing client, you're pitching a great idea, then you're cleaning the kitchen because that's also what you need to do, right? It's just everything. Then you're writing up an employment contract. So you really need to be constantly wearing all these different hats and you just do it. There's also this big element of like just fake it till you make it, and if you're not comfortable with that, I think that can be a big challenge. Also there is this big element of just do things that are challenging, that you don't necessarily know, push yourself through like every limit and go out of your comfort zone every single day. So
embrace the difficulties.
100%. So I do think those are the key challenges. You also have to be like, you have to be great with interpersonal like relationships, communication and all these things. And for me, it took me quite a while to find that leadership style, find like good boundaries and everything else with my teams. So yeah.
So if I listen to you well, you're saying you have to be a superwoman.
Yeah, you do. I like to think I am.
Okay. Coming back on one thing that you say, one of the challenges that you have, which is that you need to think about your business all the time. Yeah. I'm interested. You have a personal, private life. How do you balance between your private life and your professional life, if you can balance?
I'm actually not the best person to talk about that because I don't think I'm the best at balancing it out, though I am trying, and I do understand, like for me that's one of the focus areas that I've been trying to work on. I work, so both of my business partners in Branderz are, one of them is my partner in my life as well, one of them is my very good friend. My brother works with me in Branderz. So it's this very family type of a business, right? So obviously when we all come home, it's very difficult to switch off and to just be these random people that talk about their days. I did recognize, I think about like a year ago, that it's really important that I start having better balance. So we do try not all be in the office at the same time, especially with family, so that we can kind of, give ourselves this opportunity to come home and talk about the day. I did try to set up more hobbies that are really bringing me out of the office, like more organized activities, so that I'm forced with a schedule to get out there and do different things. I also have a really good business coach that gave me
I was told
that gave me a good advice, in the sense that sometimes you really have to, schedule a lunch out of the office and just go and do it, and schedule time with your friends and make sure that's all happening. I do try to work less and less on Sundays, so I would just simply build some rules into my life, and sadly, if it's not rules, then I would just probably never switch off. So has to be like that.
Right. So building rules as
writing them down, trying to follow, being strict with yourself is important.
And is it how you get things done at work also, like building rules? Because I'm talking about that because what I've seen with fellow entrepreneurs, my clients, is that they have a lot of difficulties to get things done, to prioritize work, and and just starting and doing the stuff.
True. For me, prioritization was a big challenge for a long time because there's so much to be done And just time is limited for everyone, right? So for me, setting the right priorities was a big learning curve. I do think I'm getting better at it, and today, for example, I think I'm more able to address the tasks that will bring the biggest result first. Whereas before, sometimes I would start with the tasks that were either like sounded urgent or were just more attractive to tackle, right?
The easy stuff.
Exactly. And then you start understanding that this 80-20 rule, there is some value in that, you know? So now I'm trying to be more mindful of like, what is this one thing that I can do today that will bring the biggest result or make the greatest impact? So that's one of the things I would ask myself every morning, like if I just do one thing, what would be the one thing with true impact? That's one. Second, I'm learning to delegate, and for me that was another challenge. Letting go of control, letting go of the thoughts that only I know how to do something, which is a complete like bullshit, excuse my French. And like trusting your team and understanding that you surrounded yourself with strong, talented individuals, and that it's important to give them their platform and give them their voice and give them the power to create your company together with you.
And make them better than you.
Exactly, actually, exactly. So that's the kind of culture we're trying to build at Branderz. I do believe we have a great team that is taking responsibility and action, so now I'm really trying to let go of a lot of tasks that previously I was just holding for myself. How I get things done, I've also learned, now speaking of team, is that I have to be very clear with expectations. What do I expect from people around me? What do I expect from myself? And how am I communicating that? Is it clear? Is it not? And I did notice such a big difference when I started being very, very straightforward with like, I expect you to do this because it's important and because this will be the result. And I think that brought much better results to all of us.
Excellent.
I also use different small tactics like Pomodoro concept and all these different things. I try to do that. I try not to have my email open, throughout the day, as difficult as it is, and so forth. So yeah, all these different tricks do actually help. So.
All right. And what is your biggest success?
I guess now speaking about Branderz, right, which is the reason we're chatting, we're still here after 5.5 years, bigger and better than ever. So that would probably be business-wise one of my, Branderz was really one of the first real companies I've started. Before there were smaller projects that already before I understood had a limited time, or I would partner up with other people that had ideas and I would help them execute on those ideas. So this was really the very first venture where I was fully from the first seed of idea to today saw that through, right? And that it's still here in today's form. I find that quite amazing. You know what they say, I forgot who said it, maybe Coco Chanel, that success often comes to people who don't know that failure is even possible. And I do think that I had that mentality when I was starting it. I didn't even think about everyone else doing different things in our industry. I didn't even think that it might not succeed. I was just full on going for it. And
you believe in it.
Yes, fully. Didn't doubt for a second. It was difficult and it was challenging, but I was yep, that's what I want to do. I think it's awesome. I think Cambodia needs it, so I'm just gonna do it. And that I think that's one of the greatest successes. And then I also think that the team of people we built, it's another thing I'm really proud of, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so what is your dream with Branderz or with your entrepreneur life? What is that you want to achieve? Or Jim Collins, who wrote a book, talk about the big, hairy, audacious goal, which is a 25 years goal.
When it comes to Branderz, I want Branderz to be the best creative agency in Asia. I want when people think I need good design, I need to develop a good brand, I need to localize a good brand. I want Branderz to be the first company they think about. I want the team of people that I work with to truly the experts on their areas, known for their like ability to really turn client challenges into these beautiful ideas. That's one of the dreams I have. I want to create also a platform where the team at Branderz is able to realize other dreams and passions that they've got. So we do try to encourage them to work on other projects and try to create these different spin-offs and so forth. So essentially it would be like a group of different little companies, right? And when it comes to my own entrepreneurship journey, I want to actually be the person that successfully develops several brands. So I don't want Branderz to be my only like endeavor. And yeah, for now the challenge is how to navigate all of that, how to navigate growth, right, and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty much how I see myself. My big dream would be to just be free in terms of where I live and how I live, and just manage all this like bubble of great creative businesses. So yeah.
Wow, that's very, very nice. And you know, for our audience today, if you had, you know, some tips or tricks to give to your fellow entrepreneurs, what would you tell them?
Well, what I said before, when you start something, don't even think that failure is an option. On the other hand, if I was doing this again, I would probably apply a tad more of like strategic planning into the beginning of my company, because I do think there was a big lack of that. Another thing that I was also talking about before, don't listen to all these people saying, as long as you find your passion, you'll be fine. No, please understand that days of like work that it's hard and it's boring and it's like, it is what it is necessary for you to come out like better on the other side. Another like advice I would share, something that helped me, is like surround yourself with network of inspiring people, mentors and so forth, because you have to understand on a daily basis that all these issues that you're having are not only yours. Everybody has them. Everybody goes through like very similar like, you know, curves and paths and so forth, and if you talk about it, it's gonna be so much easier. If you get all these different tips like on daily basis, everything is gonna be like really, really, really much better. Also find opportunities to just vent. Never vent in front of your team, but do find opportunities to like just, you know.
Even if you want to.
Even if you want to, don't do it, but do find opportunities to just, you know, sometimes sit down and be like, this was a difficult day. So all of that is very important, but overall just enjoy. And I think one thing that as entrepreneurs we don't do often enough is celebrate little successes. It very rarely happens to me that I would sit down and be like, hey, you know what, we've actually come a long way, right? It's very easy to get lost in like the daily struggle and all the operations and everything you're doing, and you kind of forget that you've done amazing things and you have to celebrate them yourself, with your team, with your friends, with your family. It's really important. No matter how small, no matter how insignificant, stop, reflect, celebrate.
Words of wisdom. Thank you very much for your time today, Klara. How do you feel?
Thank you for the opportunity. Very well. I could go on.
I am sure. Thank you again. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like our conversation, please subscribe to my podcast and see you later. Bye.